There is something that happens inside your body the instant your paycheck lands that you have never been taught to notice, and it is the single reason your money never stays. It is not a thought. It is not a decision. It is a physical event, a rapid tightening that moves through your chest and your hands and your jaw faster than any conscious intention you could ever form, and by the time you become aware that money has arrived, this event has already decided what is going to happen to it. You will spend it. You will scatter it. You will move it out of your possession with a speed and creativity that would be impressive if it were not so quietly devastating, and you will do this while believing the entire time that you are making choices, when in reality every choice was made for you in the first seconds by a part of your body you have never been introduced to. I know this because I lived inside this exact pattern for years and never once saw it. Money would come in and money would go out, and the gap between those two events was so small and so automatic that I genuinely believed the problem was mathematical, that I simply did not earn enough, that the answer was more income. So I earned more. And more went out. I earned significantly more, and somehow the gap stayed the same, just at a higher altitude, and the feeling, that low restless hum that whispered the money is already gone even before I checked, that feeling never moved an inch no matter what the number said. It was only when I stopped looking at the numbers and started looking at my body that I understood what was actually happening, and it changed everything. What I discovered is that my body was treating every incoming dollar as a live threat. Not metaphorically. Physiologically. The same cascade that would fire if something dangerous entered my space was firing when money entered my account, and the spending that followed was not irresponsibility, it was my nervous system's solution to the threat, a discharge behavior designed to remove the source of danger as fast as possible and return me to a state my body recognized as safe. And the state my body recognized as safe was having less. Having less was familiar. Having less was what I grew up in. Having less was home, and my nervous system was taking me home on every single payday with mechanical, loving, devastating precision. This means that every time you have called yourself bad with money, every time you have blamed your lack of discipline, every time you have stared at your bank statement and felt that familiar wave of shame and confusion wondering where it all went, you were judging the wrong thing. You were judging the surface behavior while the engine underneath it went completely unexamined. The spending was never the problem. The spending was the solution your body invented to manage a feeling it could not tolerate, and until you address the feeling itself, in the body, at the moment it fires, no budget on earth will ever hold because you are asking a spreadsheet to overrule a survival system, and the survival system will win that fight every single time. What I am about to share with you is not financial advice. It is not a budgeting technique. It is not another strategy to stack on top of the pile of strategies that have already failed you. It is a 60-second intervention that targets the exact neurological event I just described, at the exact moment it fires, and begins to physically rewrite what your body does when money arrives. I tested it on myself first because I did not trust it, and the results were so immediate and so physically unmistakable that I have not stopped doing it since. Your body has been running the same program on every payday for years, maybe decades. In the next few minutes you are going to understand that program completely, and you are going to learn how to change it, starting on your very next payday. Your nervous system is not a passive system that simply observes your life and lets you make decisions in peace. It is an active, aggressive, constantly operating threat management system that makes the vast majority of your decisions before your conscious mind even knows a decision was needed. It scans your environment roughly 5 times per second, comparing what it detects against a stored library of patterns it considers dangerous, and when it finds a match it launches a response, a full-body chemical and muscular cascade, that redirects your behavior towards safety before you have time to form a single conscious thought about what is happening. This is why you flinch before you know something was thrown at you. This is why you jerk the steering wheel before you know there was an obstacle. And this is why you spend your paycheck before you know it was there. The library of danger patterns your nervous system references was not built by you. It was built for you, during the first years of your life, by absorbing the emotional reality of the environment you grew up in. Every moment of tension around money, every argument about bills, every heavy silence after a purchase, every expression of worry on a parent's face when the topic of finances arose, every felt sense that money equals stress equals danger, all of it was catalogued by your developing nervous system and filed permanently under conditions to be avoided. And those files were never updated. They were never reviewed. They were never given an expiration date. They are running right now, tonight, with the same parameters they were given when you were 4 years old. This is why your financial stress has remained remarkably constant across wildly different income levels. At $30,000 a year you felt a specific quality of financial anxiety. At $50,000 the same quality, slightly different packaging. At $80,000 or $100,000, the packaging changed again, but the feeling stayed locked at the same depth and the same temperature because the feeling was never being generated by the income. It was being generated by the template, by the stored pattern that says this is how money feels for someone like you, and the template does not care what the actual number is. It has one job, maintaining the emotional state it considers normal, and it will adjust your spending and your avoidance and your decision-making with whatever precision is necessary to deliver that exact state at any income. And here is the piece that haunted me once I understood it. The template does not just passively maintain a feeling. It actively dismantles anything that threatens to change the feeling. This is why your savings never stick. This is why every financial breakthrough is followed by a financial crisis that erases the gains. This is why you can white-knuckle your way through a good month or two of saving and then something mysteriously comes up that requires exactly the amount you managed to put away. The something that came up was not bad luck. It was your template rebalancing the equation, engineering a return to baseline through whatever circumstances were available, and it has been doing this your entire adult life without you ever catching it in the act. The reason you have never caught it is that the template operates far below the threshold of conscious awareness. You do not experience it as a program running. You experience it as reality. You experience it as just how things are, as what happens when you get paid, as the natural difficulty of saving money. The template has been so consistent for so long that you have mistaken its output for the world itself, and you have never once thought to question the world because the world just is what it is. Except it is not. What you are experiencing financially is not the objective reality of your situation. It is your template's interpretation of your situation, projected so convincingly that you cannot tell the difference, and other people walking through the exact same economic reality with a different template are having a completely different financial life. Now here is why every piece of financial information you have consumed has failed to change this. Your template does not live in the part of you that processes information. It lives in the part of you that processes sensation. It is stored in the body, in muscular tension patterns, in breathing rhythms, in the specific way your gut clenches and your jaw tightens and your hands grip when money is present. And the body does not update through reading. The body does not update through understanding. The body does not update through hearing someone explain why you should save more. The body updates through one mechanism only, through new felt experience that directly contradicts the stored pattern, delivered at the precise moment the pattern activates. It means you have been running a program that was written in a language you do not speak, installed at an age you cannot remember, by an environment you did not choose, and it has been executing flawlessly ever since, producing the exact output it was designed to produce. And now, for the first time, you are looking at the code. This is why you can understand compound interest perfectly and still not invest. This is why you can know that you should save 20% and still spend 98%. This is why you can teach someone else how to build wealth and lie awake at night with the same tight knot of financial anxiety you have always had. The information went into your head. Your template lives in your body. And there is no wire connecting the two. The head can learn all day long while the body continues to run the same pattern all night long, and the body always wins the argument because the body is faster, older, and infinitely more stubborn than the intellect that is trying to overrule it. Think about what this means for every approach you have tried. Every budget was a head solution applied to a body problem. Every financial app was a logical tool aimed at a neurological pattern. Every New Year's resolution about money was a conscious intention trying to redirect an unconscious reflex, and that is why the resolution lasted 2 weeks and the reflex lasted a lifetime. You were not failing at those approaches. Those approaches were failing you, because they were designed for a different problem than the one you actually have, and nobody ever told you the difference because almost nobody in the financial world knows the difference exists. And I want you to feel what this knowledge actually does when it lands properly, because it is profoundly liberating once you stop resisting it. It means you are not lazy. It means you are not undisciplined. It means you are not fundamentally broken or incapable of managing money. It means you have a body-level pattern running a decades-old program, and that pattern has been so fast and so invisible that you have spent your entire adult life blaming your character for the output of a reflex you never chose and never knew was there. You did not fail at building wealth. You were running software that made building wealth neurologically impossible, and the software was installed before you could read. And the beautiful, terrifying truth of it is that the transformation happens in the body first and the bank account second, always in that order, never the reverse. The account is the last thing to change. People give up precisely because they are staring at the account waiting for proof while the real work is happening in a place they never thought to look. Do not make that mistake. The change will come. It comes from the body outward, not from the account inward. But software can be overwritten. A template can be rewritten. A reflex can be retrained. And it does not require years of therapy or an iron will or a personality transplant. It requires a specific intervention delivered at a specific moment in a specific way, targeting the exact neurological layer where the template lives. That moment is the instant you get paid, because that is when the template activates and becomes accessible and vulnerable to change. And the intervention is 60 seconds long. Let me show you exactly how it works. On your next payday, before you open your banking app, before you check the number, before you make a single plan for where the money should go, you are going to do something you have never done before in your entire financial life. You are going to stop. Not plan. Not think. Stop. You are going to let the money sit there untouched and unexamined for 60 seconds, and during those 60 seconds you are going to place all of your attention on your body, not your account, and you are going to observe what happens inside you when money is present and you are doing nothing about it. This is the moment the template reveals itself, because the template depends on you reacting instantly, and the instant you refuse to react, you can feel it scrambling. You will feel it. The tightening. The urgency. The crawling restless need to check, to calculate, to move, to plan, to spend, to do something, anything, with the money so that the feeling of having it stops. That feeling is the template activating in real time, and for the first time in your life, instead of being swept away by it, you are going to stand outside it and watch it from a distance. And from that distance, you are going to do the first move of the protocol. You are going to extend your exhale. Breathe in normally, and let the breath out slowly, twice the length of the inhale. 3 rounds. In and then a long slow out. In and a long slow out. In and a long slow out. What you just did is not a relaxation technique. It is a direct command to your vagus nerve, the primary neural pathway that switches your nervous system from threat mode to safety mode. You sent your body a signal, in the only language it actually understands, that there is no danger here. And you sent it at the exact moment your template was trying to convince your body that money is dangerous and must be discharged immediately. That contradiction, safety arriving at the moment the template expects threat, is the single mechanism through which body-level patterns are rewritten. Not thinking about it. Not understanding it. Physically contradicting it with a felt experience of safety delivered precisely when the alarm fires. If you actually did this, if you really breathed through the urgency instead of obeying it, you may have noticed something subtle but real. The urgency did not disappear, but it softened. The grip loosened a fraction. There was a moment, maybe half a second, where you were present with money and not in survival mode, and that half second is the most important financial event of your month because it is the first crack in a pattern that has run unbroken for your entire life. One crack does not shatter the template. But one crack, repeated on every payday, widens into a gap, and the gap widens into space, and in that space is where a completely different relationship with money becomes possible. The pause and the breath are the foundation. If you do nothing else from this entire video, do those two things on your next payday and pay attention to what your body does when you refuse to obey the urgency. That single act of observation, of watching the pattern instead of being the pattern, is worth more than every financial strategy you have ever learned, because it puts you in a position you have never occupied before. For the first time you are the one watching the program run instead of being the one the program runs, and from that position everything begins to change. After the pause and the breath, after you have let the urgency exist without obeying it, comes the second move, and this is where new neural wiring actually begins to form. You are going to move a portion of the money, any amount, $5 or $500, it genuinely does not matter, to a place you cannot easily or impulsively spend it. A separate account. An investment. Anywhere with even a small barrier between you and that money. And as you make this transfer, you are going to pay close attention to what your body does, because something will happen and it will not be pleasant. There will be a protest. A tightness. A pulling sensation. A voice that says you need that, something will come up, you cannot afford to put that away right now. That protest is not financial wisdom. It is the template objecting to an unauthorized action. You just moved money toward building instead of toward relief, and your nervous system has no category for that. It does not recognize building as safe. It only recognizes spending as safe because spending is how it has always discharged the threat of having money. So it protests, loudly, convincingly, and if you obey the protest you teach the template that it was right to fire, and next time it will fire even faster and louder. But if you do not obey it, if you let the protest exist and breathe through it and leave the money where you put it, something extraordinary happens at the neurological level. Your body receives a piece of evidence it has never had before, evidence that money was moved toward building and nothing bad happened afterward. The template says moving money away from immediate access equals danger. The lived experience says it equals perfectly fine. And with each payday that this contradiction repeats, the template's certainty weakens a fraction, and the new experience gains a fraction of authority, and slowly, over weeks, the transfer stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling normal. That memory is worth more than any compound interest calculator could ever show you, because it is not just saving money, it is rewriting the fundamental instruction your body runs every time wealth is present. And a new instruction running automatically on every payday for the rest of your life is worth more than any single savings amount could ever be, because it compounds not just the money but the behaviors, the decisions, the opportunities, and the entire trajectory of your financial existence. The third move seals it. After the transfer, you stay in your body for 30 more seconds and you let yourself feel safe on purpose. Feet on the ground. Shoulders dropped. Breath slow. You received money. You moved some toward your future. Nothing collapsed. No emergency arrived. You are still here. By staying present for that moment of nothing bad happening, you are encoding a new memory directly into your nervous system. Money arrived, I did not panic, I moved some toward building, and I survived completely. That memory, repeated enough times, becomes the new template, the new default, the new automatic that fires on payday instead of the old one. These three moves together take 60 seconds. Pause and breathe before touching the money. Transfer a portion while observing the body's protest without obeying it. Stay present for 30 seconds of felt safety. That is the complete protocol. And the day this sequence becomes automatic, which it will if you repeat it on every payday, is the day you stop needing discipline entirely. The old pattern ran automatically and emptied your account without your permission. The new pattern will run automatically and build your wealth without your effort. Automatic is automatic. The only question is which program is running. The power of this protocol is entirely in the repetition, and I need you to understand why before you are tempted to do it once and then judge it. 1 rep of the 60 seconds is like 1 rep at the gym. It is real work. Something actually moved. But you would not do a single bicep curl and expect a transformed body, and you cannot do a single 60-second session and expect a transformed financial nervous system. The template was built through thousands of repetitions of the old pattern. It will be rewritten through consistent repetitions of the new one. Not hundreds. Not years. But enough that your body can no longer deny the evidence. What most people do not realize is that the change does not require motivation. This is the most liberating part, and I need you to hear it clearly. You do not need to feel inspired to do the 60 seconds. You do not need to believe it will work. You do not need to be in a good mood or a disciplined state of mind. You just need to do it, mechanically, on every payday, because the rewiring is not happening in your motivation or your belief. It is happening in your nervous system, and your nervous system does not care how you feel about the process. It only cares that the process happens. You can do this while rolling your eyes and it will still work because the body responds to what you do, not to what you think about what you do. And something happens during this process that goes beyond behavior. Your identity begins to shift. After enough paydays of pausing, breathing, transferring, and feeling safe, you stop being a person who is trying to save and you become a person who saves. That sounds like wordplay, but it is a neurological event. The first version fights against its own wiring on every payday and eventually exhausts itself. The second version acts in alignment with its wiring and spends no energy at all. The protocol does not just change what you do with money. It changes who you are with money. And an identity level shift is permanent in a way that behavioral tricks never are. Do not let the simplicity of this make you underestimate it. The template was built through simple repetition too. A child sitting in a kitchen absorbing tension around money was not doing anything complex. They were just present, repeatedly, while a feeling was happening, and the feeling became permanent code. You are doing the exact same thing in reverse, being present, repeatedly, while a new feeling happens, and this feeling will become permanent code too. The mechanism is identical. You are just running it in a different direction. If something I have said has landed differently than the usual financial advice, if you felt a recognition in your body as I described the pattern, go to the comments and write one word. The word that describes what you feel the instant money hits your account. Panic. Relief. Urgency. Dread. Numbness. Whatever it honestly is for you. Naming the pattern out loud is the first act of separating yourself from it, and separation is the gap the entire protocol is built to widen. It also helps me understand which patterns are most alive in the people watching so I can build the next videos around exactly what you need. And I want to say something about the amount you transfer, because I know some of you are already generating reasons why this will not work for you. The amount is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. $5 rewires your nervous system exactly the same way $500 does because the rewiring is not in the amount. It is in the act. In the interruption of the automatic pattern. In the body's experience of moving money toward building and surviving. If $5 is what you have, $5 is enough. Do not let the size of the number become the reason you never start, because the template would love nothing more than for you to wait until conditions are perfect, since conditions are never perfect and waiting is how it survives. Something is going to happen as this protocol takes hold that you need to be prepared for, or you will mistake it for failure and quit at the exact wrong moment. As your body begins to tolerate holding more money, as the set point starts to shift, the old template will fight back with everything it has left. The spending urges will get louder. The reasons to break the protocol will get more convincing. Sudden expenses will materialize from nowhere. Friends will need loans. Deals too good to pass will appear. Your mind will generate the most creative and urgent arguments for why you need to spend right now. This is called the extinction burst, and it is the most important thing I will tell you today. Every conditioned pattern, every habit, every deeply wired reflex has a final surge of intensity right before it permanently breaks. Your financial pattern is no exception. The burst feels like proof that the protocol is not working. It feels like evidence that you are an exception to the rule. It feels like the most rational, urgent, undeniable case for spending you have ever encountered. And it is a lie. It is the template's last stand. The people who push through it come out the other side with a fundamentally different nervous system. The people who obey it go right back to where they started and conclude that nothing will ever work for them. On the other side of the burst, something opens up that I cannot adequately describe with words, but I will try because you deserve to know what is waiting. When the threat response around money finally quiets, your perception physically widens. A nervous system in threat mode literally narrows your field of vision to focus on the danger, filtering out everything else. For years your brain has been filtering out opportunities to grow your wealth because growth meant more money and more money meant more threat. The investments you never saw. The income you never pursued. The negotiations you never had. They were not invisible because they did not exist. They were invisible because your brain was actively hiding them from you to protect you from the danger of having more. When the filter comes off, the world fills with possibility that was always there but that you were neurologically incapable of perceiving. You see investment opportunities that would have paralyzed you before. You ask for raises you would have been too anxious to request. You make financial decisions from clarity instead of from fear. And the wealth that follows is not the reward for your discipline. It is the natural consequence of a nervous system that has finally stopped treating money as something to survive and started treating it as something to use. Think about someone you know who seems to handle money effortlessly, who sees opportunities you miss, who makes decisions that seem obvious to them and impossible to you. The gap between you and them is not intelligence or luck or talent. It is that their nervous system is not spending its entire energy budget managing a money threat, and yours is. All the energy you are currently burning on financial anxiety, on the constant background hum of not enough, on the vigilance and the dread and the shame, all of that energy becomes available for building the moment the threat response goes quiet. That is where you are headed with the 60-second protocol. Not just calmer. Richer. Because calm is the prerequisite for wealth and you have been trying to build wealth without it your entire life. I have given you the 60-second protocol in this video honestly and completely. It is not a teaser. It is not a fraction of the real thing. It is the real thing, and if you do it on every payday from this moment forward you will begin to experience a shift in your nervous system's response to money that no financial strategy has ever been able to produce. That alone will put you ahead of nearly everyone you know. But I also need to be honest about what lies beneath the 60 seconds, because you deserve the full truth. The protocol addresses the moment money arrives. Underneath that moment is a deeper structure, the root template itself, the specific childhood experiences where money and danger were first fused together in your body. As long as that root stays untouched, the template retains some residual pull, some quiet whisper that can regain its volume during high-stress periods. The 60 seconds manage and weaken the template. Dissolving the root is what removes it permanently. That is what the 21-day protocol is built to do. 3 phases of 7 days each. Phase 1 clears the surface, the stories, the identity, the conscious resistance that guards the deeper layers. Phase 2 dissolves the emotional charge, the body-level feelings of money anxiety, money shame, and money fear that most people do not even know they are carrying. Phase 3 reaches the root programming itself and replaces it with new instructions delivered in the precise neurological state where the subconscious accepts new code. Each day builds on the last. The sequence is non-negotiable because the neuroscience requires each phase to prepare the ground for the next. I designed the 21 days so that each session fits into any schedule without rearranging your life. You do not need hours. You need presence and honesty and the willingness to follow the specific instructions for that day, which change as you progress because your nervous system's capacity grows with each session. Day 1 is not day 14 is not day 21. The protocol matches your evolution and builds with it. By the end of 21 days, you are not the same nervous system that started, and the template that ran your financial life for decades has been replaced at the level where it was originally installed. The full protocol is in the pinned comment at the top of this video. If everything I have described matches your experience, if you recognized your own pattern in my words, if the 60 seconds landed as something real rather than another empty promise, then go there when we finish. Not because I am pushing you toward it. Because the 60 seconds opened a door and the protocol is what walks you through it all the way to the other side. The door is open. What you do with it is entirely yours. I also want to say this because I think it matters. I gave you the 60-second protocol in full, with nothing held back, before asking anything of you. The technique is not a teaser designed to frustrate you into buying something. It is a complete and functional piece of the process that will help you if you use it consistently. The 21-day protocol extends it, deepens it, and takes it all the way to the root, but the 60 seconds alone are already more than most people will ever do with their financial patterns, and that counts for something real. And I want to acknowledge the voice in your head right now that is telling you this is not for you, that your situation is different, that you have tried enough things, that hope is more painful than resignation. That voice is not your wisdom. It is the template protecting itself. Of course it does not want you to dissolve it. It has been running your financial life unchallenged for decades. But you heard something today that it cannot unhear, and that changes the math permanently, because a pattern that has been seen can never fully return to being invisible, and invisibility was the only real power it ever had. If you are going to begin, go to the comments and write 3 words. I will pause. Let that exist where the template cannot quietly erase it. And while you are there, the pinned comment holds the full 21-day protocol for anyone ready to go all the way to the root. Take both. The words are your declaration. The protocol is your road. And neither means anything without the person who decides to use them. Imagine the compound effect of that stillness running across every payday for the next year. The next 5 years. The next decade. Each payday the protocol runs, each time the money stays, each repetition that reinforces the new template, is not just saving that month's amount. It is changing the trajectory of every future month. The person who starts the 60 seconds today is not just making a different decision this payday. They are altering the entire financial arc of their remaining life, one 60-second rep at a time, each one bending the curve a little more toward building and a little further from bleeding. I want you to picture your next payday. Picture the notification. Picture the number. And instead of the familiar surge of urgency and tension and automatic scattering, picture something you may never have experienced on a payday in your entire adult life. Stillness. The money is there. Your body is calm. There is no emergency. There is no pull. There is just you and the money and a quiet, settled, unfamiliar feeling that says this is allowed to stay. That is not a fantasy. That is a neurological state that real people reach through consistent application of the exact protocol I just gave you, and it is closer than you think. The wealth that grows inside that stillness is not the hard-won product of gritting your teeth and forcing yourself to save against every instinct in your body. It is the effortless natural consequence of a nervous system that has finally learned, through real felt evidence on payday after payday, that money is allowed to stay. The saving stops being a battle because the urge to spend stops firing with the same desperate intensity. The building stops being a sacrifice because your body no longer experiences it as giving up safety. Everything becomes quieter and clearer and more spacious, and from that space, wealth accumulates almost without your conscious effort. The saving stops being a battle because the urge to spend stops firing with the same desperate intensity. The building stops being a sacrifice because your body no longer experiences it as giving up safety. The investing stops being paralysis because the threat filter that blocked your perception of opportunity has gone quiet. Everything becomes quieter and clearer and more spacious, and from that space, wealth accumulates almost without your conscious effort, the same way it used to drain almost without your conscious effort when the old template was running. The direction reversed. The mechanism stayed the same. Automatic is automatic. That person who feels stillness on payday is not a different or luckier or more disciplined human being. That person is you, a few months of 60-second reps from exactly where you are sitting right now. The only distance between you and them is whether you do the protocol starting on your very next payday or let this be one more video that felt true and changed nothing. Subscribe and stay close to this channel because the next video goes deep into why money anxiety is not what you think it is and how one specific breathing technique can dissolve it at the root. That video will explain the single pattern I get asked about more than any other. I will see you there. This is wealth reprogramming. The pattern ends here. Your 60 seconds start on your next payday. Now go begin.